we can sing it. We did
Yeah.
the mash. Psh, psh. We did the monster mash. The monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. We usually have music playing. We had technical difficulties. It wasn't happening. So Candace and I might have to just do some karaoke and just sing it out. We're not as awesome as Jasmine, okay? Jasmine and Maria have this on lock. So, yeah. So you guys just get us and our loud asses.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're just letting people in. If you can put in the chat where you're joining us from.
We did the monster mash. The monster mash.
Yeah.
It was a graveyard smash. I know my voice is phenomenal, y'all. Please hold your applause. That's it. Eastern Oregon. Holy crap. So I was born in Coos Bay, Oregon, by the way. So Eastern, that's Western. So I'm not sure Eastern. Is that Medford, Morgan? Kind of, no, over by Baker. Okay. Hi, McGenna. Fabulous McGenna. Austin, Texas. Everybody knows Brenda.
Oh, hello.
What's up, Smiles? Hey, Chicago's in the house.
I don't think I know Ellen.
Ellen.
I don't know how to pronounce her name either, but hi, Ray. Oh, Ray, hi. Yeah, Ray is Albanian. I was like, Ray, he looks familiar.
Boy.
Got Albanian dominating today. Candice, nice to see
Yeah.
you. Hi, Brenda.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We'll get started here in a few seconds as we just let everybody in.
We did the mash. We did the monster mash. The monster mash. Okay. It was a graveyard smash. The mash. You know what? I will tell the joke that I told you since we don't have the music working.
Oh, perfect.
Dude, couple jokes. So Dracula was the vampire was trying to tell his son about the birds and the bees. He said, son, when two monsters love each other, I get it, Dad. They mash. He's like, yeah, they do the monster mash.
I like the sound effect.
But wait, there's more. One more. I think Vina was sharing these. And then there's another one where the teacher's in a class and he tells the kids, hey, you guys, we're going to be learning about spells and witches. And it's one of the few places that we can curse. Ha, ha, ha. And one of the kids goes, hell yeah, mother F. He's like, not that kind of curse. Okay. I thought it was funny at the time where I was really tired either way. I was like, okay.
Well, welcome everyone to She Builds, She Owns, She Invests, She Is Me, and She Is You. I'm Candace Stearns, one of your hosts, and our other host is Brooke Ceballos Pinheiro. And we are going to be sharing this evening some stories about our business journeys and sharing with you some of the things that have happened to us that were spooky, scary, fearful, however you want to say it, but how we handled the situations and hopefully provide you some good information on
and hear from them.
Yeah,
so I honestly want to set the stage. Let's set the stage, y'all. Okay, so Candace actually has a real life situation that she's going through right now. She's going to share that. We then want you guys to think about any crazy things, being a woman, entrepreneur, business, W-2, how you were treated because you were a woman or a woman of color. We're going to bounce it back to you. So Candace is going to go. We're then going to ask for somebody in the audience to share your story, what happened and how did you overcome it, in the hopes that we can help other people. Then it'll come back to me. Then it's going to go back to y'all. Okay. So we really want this to be engaging, because if you share your story and how you overcome, one, it makes us feel less alone. And two, if we ever encounter this situation in the future, we now have an idea of how we can overcome that. Right. So Candace, if you want to kind of kick it off, and I would love to hear what's happening with you.
Yeah, those of you who don't know me well, I am a serial entrepreneur. I've owned several different businesses. I have three businesses right now that I am shareholder, stockholder, business partner in. My longtime career path that I initially started in was the insurance world. And I had owned an insurance agency for about 25 years. And then in 2018, I formed a business partner relationship with a gentleman, and you know, when you form partnerships, they're very much like other, partnerships or relationships that you might have, like with a spouse or a longtime friend or something like that. So you hope you get to know the person well, and you hope you do all the right vetting and things. But in every relationship, sometimes there's misalignments. And in my particular situation, when I merged my business with his business, we already both had staffs. We already both had certain cultures in the organizations, and unfortunately, when we merged them together, there wasn't strong boundaries and leadership stability in the business, I guess is the best way to put it. I was used to leading the corporation. And when I merged my block of business with his, the intent was that he would manage it so that I could focus on other areas and other businesses that I was involved in. And unfortunately, there were staffing issues that one person didn't like the other person, and one person happened to be my lead person, and the other person was his lead person. And while I was out of town, unfortunately, he made the decision to fire my person. And so you can just imagine how that went over. Because when you're in a partnership, just like you would be in any relationship, you don't make rash decisions without discussing those kinds of things with your partner, whether it's your friend, your mom, your spouse, whoever. Um, Financial decisions and personal decisions like that should be made together. So, all of that to say, I wasn't in a position to, you know, continue on with this person. And there were other red flags and issues that happened as well. But this just happened, unfortunately, at the end of August. And so I've been kind of thrusted into fourth quarter, which is one of the busiest times for insurance. Those of you who have healthcare or have ever worked a W-2, you know that your insurance usually gets renewed January 1. An insurance agent like myself comes out, talks to you about the increases and what changes have to be made. So it's one of the busiest times in the healthcare world, so to speak. And so he made this rash, very freakish decision without me, probably in one of the worst times possible. So I'm now, in fourth quarter, having to contact all my clients and basically relicense with them and pull my entire block out of this joint operation into back into an individual operation with myself and my staff. So it's been kind of a crazy month. And so all that to say, you never know what's going to happen. It's not the first time I've had partners and had to quote unquote go through a separation.
Well, I'm going to jump in because I'm going to ask you a couple questions,
Yeah.
and it hopes that that'll help other people. So two questions. One, you mentioned you had saw red flags, right? So what can the women do moving forward that you're like, man, I don't think that this is a good idea to progress on my part? What were some of those red flags that you saw that have now come to fruition that we can keep an eye out for?
So one of the things that when I decided to get into this partnership because I had other things going on in my life. And I was quite frankly burned out. I was burned out of doing the right. I was just tired of doing the same thing in the same business with the same people. And I was just tired. And so I wanted a partner, and I don't want to say desperate, but I mean, you're tired. So I think you make bad decisions. I knew when I partnered with him, um, that the cultures were very, very different. But I thought that because he was above board and honest, and I was willing to, make concessions and things like that, that the culture wouldn't be that big of a deal. But culture is everything, ladies. And when you have two very different leadership styles and two very different cultures, um, management styles, the way the employees work with each other, their roles, their tasks. Like my operation was very structured. I had weekly meetings, I had quarterly meetings, I had annual meetings. Everybody had very defined roles in the organization, and everyone had, um, you know, KPIs that we worked to. His organization was more like everybody kind of knew how to do everybody's job, and people would just quote unquote jump in if so and so was in the weeds and needed help. And it was a lot more loose and fast and not very structured at all. And those were should have been red flags. I should have been like, this is going to be difficult, merging these two companies together.
So I agree with you on that. I think anytime that you have a business structure, you need to have structure, right? You have to have that. It gives you an ability to track, and what gets measured gets managed, right? And you have that. You can't track key performance indicators, KPIs. I never assume people know the acronyms. If you
Right.
don't know, if everything's flying by the seat of their pants. So
Right.
another question, especially since so many of us are entrepreneurs, what you coming from the medical insurance field. So first of all, Barb Christie says she's a life and health licensed person.
So she
DM
knows my plight.
DM Candace with your information directly, by the way. Okay.
Please.
So I saw your note. How do entrepreneurs get medical? Like I'm going through this right now, right? So my corporate job is giving me, I have until November 1st. So I'm stalking all these medical companies. I know I'm not using Cobra. I know I'm not going to do Covered California. I'm looking at Impact Health, which is like some faith-based profit share. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Where should we go as entrepreneurs for medical, whether it's individual or families? And then we're going to bring it to the audience to see if anybody has a story that they can share and what they learned from it, from what we can share.
Yeah, so medical health care is very, very regional. So even though I'm an insurance agent licensed for the last 25 years, I can hold a non-residency license in any single state. I just have to apply for it because we have CE credits and all kinds of stuff we have to do every year. What I would say to you is it's really dependent on your individual income and what your Cobra offerings are. A lot of people don't purchase Cobra through their employer because it's so expensive. But the reason why they think it's so expensive is because they don't realize how much money their employer was paying on their behalf to cover the employer portion of the healthcare. So when I would use figures like a family plan with a $2,000 deductible and a $30 copay runs roughly $2,300 a month, people freak out. If you have a family of 5 and you're used to a $2,000 deductible with Kaiser Permanente or Blue Cross of whatever state you're in, you're freaking out when you see the letter and it says it's $2,300 because you were paying maybe $500 a month and you had no clue that your employer was like engulfing 70% of the cost of your benefits for you. And that's really the plight of healthcare. And quite frankly, that's why in 2018, I was wanting off the merry-go-round and I wanted out. because I was tired of being called the Grim Reaper. And Candace, you always have bad news for me, and I don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm moving to Portugal where they pay like $100 a year. Okay. I'm over it.
Yeah,
So
so I mean, I would suggest to you is work with a local individual agent. And if you want me to hook you up, I'm part of a wonderful association that I had, has helped me get politically involved as well. For those of
so
you who do
anybody
not know.
here could reach out to you. So any
Yeah,
entrepreneur,
yeah,
because this isn't just about us, this is
yeah,
about them. And then I want to take a story from the
yeah,
audience. So
yeah.
if anybody
And
on here needs your guidance, you
yeah,
can
I would
point
be
them in the right
happy to
direction
help.
for
I would
medical.
be happy to help because I have a network of agent friends throughout the country. They're part of the National Association of Insurance Benefit Professionals, and they will be able to help you or anybody else in a particular region. So.
Fantastic. I would love to hear a story from the audience. I see some beautiful faces out here. I see Julie Roy. Love seeing your gorgeous face. I know Julie has some freaking business stories. I have heard stories from you. Do you mind sharing a story?
It's so funny. I was texting in the chat. I was trying to get it in the chat, but yeah. So we're entrepreneurs. Sold our businesses twice to private equity, and we are one of you looking for healthcare always every year. We have 4 kids and 2 adults, so 6 people. We pay $2,900 a month. Our deductibles are approximately, I want to say 7,000 a person. So our family deductible is like 42,000 a year. And so we never reach, yeah, you can start pulling your hair out. We never reach our deductible, knock on wood. I guess that's a good thing because we don't, need to get to that point yet, but it's terrible. It's the worst part of being an entrepreneur. So with freedom comes responsibility. And part of that is paying for your own healthcare. So we have HSA plans as well, Barb, Christy. We also have an HSA account that we pull our deductibles from so that we have a tax benefit status through that. We're actually in the shopping market again because we just received a $5,000 deductible bill for my son's MRI on his football injury, from a shoulder injury. So like this is stuff that every month we have another 5, to 7,000 or something like that, depending on which injury happens in our family. We have sporty kids, so it's just something that that's out there.
I know this can be controversial in the insurance agency world because I'm an insurance agent, but let me tell you, because I don't just own an insurance agency, I have several other businesses. Look at the MediShare programs. Look at those options.
So yeah, we have Medicare, I think, bronze something level. I don't know what it is, but we looked at like the ones where you could be a portion of that is with an association. Is that a MediShare?
Right. Yeah, some of them are. Yeah, some of them are considered association plans, like whether they're Christian associations,
yes, that was
whatever.
The one
and how they're different, how those plans are different, ladies, is that they're not technically considered an Affordable Care Act under the law that was put in place in 2010. So the coverage is not the same. Let me say it that way. That doesn't mean the coverage is necessarily bad. It's just there are restrictions and limitations to certain things that they pay up to. But why I suggest you look at them is because if you are relatively healthy, i.e., you don't have stage 4, cancer of some sort, and you've got like millions of dollars of claims coming down the pipe, the caps are typically high. There'll be maybe $1 million for this or $2 million for that. And for the typical family that just has your average medical mayhem of a broken arm or, tonsils need to be taken out or whatever, the plan's going to work well for you. And it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, our concern is that we're 50 and over, right? So, I mean, I don't want to ever have to be in a situation where, one of us or somebody has a heart attack or has, a serious illness, and then what do you do? So like and
yes,
having so many kids, like with injuries, right? It's just,
right.
I feel like we would
Yeah.
just be in that range anyway, to be honest. So
So that's always the crystal ball and how I advise people, because I advise them because I'm licensed and I can. I would say to them that if you are your own boss and you are your own employer, worst case scenario, you can always set up a group plan of you and one other W-2 employee. And if you're ever in a position where you have to leave the individual market and put yourself in a group plan, what you have to do is form an entity, which all of you all probably have already. And the second piece is you have to pay someone on a payroll. So you got to, employ a W-2, which could be your VA that you could make an employee and provide them coverage. And then all of a sudden you have a group plan. So you can hedge against your bets is what I'm telling you. And this is why I've been not able to leave the insurance world, because so many people refer other people to me to help solve problems for them when they do a meta-share and then they have to flip to quote unquote the real Affordable Care Act plan because the proverbial crap hits the fan. You know what I mean? So look into it, check it out, do what's right for you, but keep that in mind.
And Barb Christie has her hand raised. Oh, Julie, do you have one more thing to say?
no, I was going to say Barb has her hand up, and thanks for the feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, Barb.
Hi, you guys. So I just had a comment. I had a MediShare type plan, and I was having some chest pain. So I went back and forth with myself as to, do I go to the doctor? I'm like 55. I have no cardiac history, and I'm a single parent. And I'm like, nope, you need to go. So urgent care wouldn't see me. They said I had to go to an ER. Long story short, I go in, they go, you're fine. It's probably indigestion. I got a $5,000 bill because the Christian healthcare plan denied it because the doctor put a diagnosis of anxiety.
Yeah.
So there is no way to fight these things.
Right.
So where it was a great savings month to month, it essentially evened out because I had no way to fight it because that plan didn't cover anything anxiety related.
So what I'd also say to you,
Barb,
is it happens with your Affordable Care Act plans too. I can give you horror stories from my clients with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan that when they go, they're having Andiamo's Italian and they think they're having a heart attack because it's the second time around. They find out it's indigestion and the diagnosis code and procedure code is billed that way to Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan. And
really? I didn't realize that.
Guess who's denying the claim?
Yeah.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan. And I know because for 30 years, I've adjudicated claims for my clients. All too familiar.
Yeah.
So it happens on both sides.
And there's just no, I mean, I loved it. Like they had great telehealth. They had, I think it's a great alternative just so people are aware. It's very hard to fight these things when, like, they wanted me to go back to and find the ER doctor and have them change the diagnosis.
Yep. And that's exactly what I do for our clients. Yeah. And Barb, that's exactly what my insurance agency company does. We call ourselves insurance agents, but we're really claims advocates. That's who we are. I mean, I have a whole staff of people. That's what they do.
And that's my point, because I am life and health licensed. I've only sold health minimally. I do more long-term care and life insurance, those kinds of things. But why we think we're saving on one side by not using affordable care or traditional insurance. I think there's unknown things that without an agent like yourself, we can't navigate. And that's kind of what I say. We need somebody like you that help us navigate and work on these problems. And maybe they aren't solved, but we need a professional person like yourself.
I think thanks for saying that, because a lot of people, I think, healthcare's been homogenized, red shoe, blue shoe, black shoe, brown shoe. And it's definitely, you're right. If you have the right person in your corner, they can help fight things. But then also in the grand scheme of things, and why I am focused on real estate, and I'm now, an equity partner in Massive Capital, is because the whole industry is screwed up. Let me just say that. And, the way the laws are written are not in the favor of the consumer. They're in the favor of the hospital and the insurance company. Those two are together in tandem, responsible for how and why our insurance is so expensive.
And that's crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that those people who are digital nomads, which is a big thing right now, I hear, even a couple people in our network, they went to Portugal and lived there for a year. And I think the medical was like less than 200 for the full year, and other countries have it's so much more inclusive for less money. So it's really irritating to be in the United States and either that we're getting less medical coverage and we're getting charged more, and if you're getting these faith-based programs, it's a false sense of security. You're paying this minimum, because I know for the state of maybe it's a federal law, I don't know, where you're required to have medical, right? Or you're fined, or you get in trouble for your taxes. And so you're paying the minimal amount, but then when shit hits the fan and now they're denying and not covering you for things, like, this is crazy. That's just bullshit. It just makes me so irritated, because I'm living this situation right now. I'm all like, this is so expensive everywhere, but I digress.
So does anybody else have any stories they want to share about business or situations they've had, or how they've handled something, or what they, recommendations or tips or whatever?
I might be able to help other people on the call. No, if not, I'll jump in. So a lot of my experience, because I came from 22 years in the corporate world, a lot of my horror stories, yes, I have stories of being a woman and female entrepreneur for sure, but because I've only been an entrepreneur for, a little over 2 years, they're not as many, except for a lot of people don't take you seriously as a woman in the space, and we don't get a lot of funding, right? However, one thing that I noticed that women do, let me rewind for a second. So one story, I remember being at an executive meeting, all of us were sitting together, we all provide value, and I've been with the company for a long time. I'm a top salesperson. I had brought a couple ideas to the table. So somebody tried to take my idea, one of the men who I actually confided in like the day or so before, like, hey, I'm thinking of proposing this, and he goes and puts that idea out, right? And I'm like, Ryan, what a great idea. I'm so glad you elaborated on what we discussed today. So let me take it up a notch. Thank you. I got it from here. I've had to learn in corporate that men are used to women not having a voice. We are told to sit there and be quiet, and girls are made of everything, sweet. What the hell's the saying? Sweet and spice and everything nice. That's what little girls are made of. No, or I'm in a meeting and they're like, oh, hey, Brooke, do you want to take notes? What, is your hand broken? No, I don't want to take notes. Like, I'm here to, participate. However, some tips that I want to give women that I don't think we realize that we do, coming from in a position where I was interviewing people on a panel and people that are looking for jobs or even contractors of their own business. Women, when you twirl your hair, that's a distraction. Unfortunately, makes you look like an airhead and not credible. And this is coming from a lot of the men I worked with. Why didn't we hire this girl? The top reasons we don't bring women entrepreneurs, or why we don't hire somebody or don't fund or bring this 1099 contractor in. We talk like a valley girl. Yeah, hi, yeah. Blah, blah. Men, they're not going to like that. I've seen women get shut down because of that. I've seen women not get promoted because they wear too much makeup. I've seen women not get promoted because they come in Monday morning looking like Friday night. I've seen women not get promoted because your voice is too high pitch. Okay. When you speak, especially in a male dominated field, we're told, and I've been coached. So I've been coached in the corporate book. Make sure you're speaking from your diaphragm. You're speaking in bullet points and this, because the people, AKA the men, are not going to connect with you. The other people who are making the decisions, right? So women bring a lot of power to the table where it comes to leadership capabilities. We really learn about people as individuals and we empathize and we're more open to being vulnerable. However, those that are in the power, when I've been behind these walls with these men, being the only woman on the team for years, and even the role I left, I was the only woman on the team. When you hear what men say about women, why they are not being promoted, it's because of the reasons I just listed. We're too long-winded, you're wearing too much makeup, you're wearing too much jewelry and it's a distraction. Men get by talking in the water cooler. So women think that if we show up early and we leave late, we're going to get noticed. They're going to see all the hard work that I'm doing. Bullshit. Because you get mad when you see, why is this dude getting promoted when he comes in at 9 o'clock, goes and plays golf for an hour, and then he shoots the shit at the water cooler, and I'm here busting my ass till 7, 8 o'clock? Because it's about relationships. And that's what I've seen, where women, we struggle because, one, we don't ask for what we want. Okay. We think that people are just going to notice what we're doing. And then 3, and that's another reason why there's such a pay disparity, because not only are we coming in trying to be too feminine, or we're talking high pitch and we're talking like there's a question mark at the end of everything. It's making us lose opportunities. And I know some people don't want to hear that, but that's the cold, hard truth. When you come into the room, face full of makeup, too much cleavage, or the way you're speaking, you're high pitch, you're not even negotiating for your pay. I'm offering you a 105K base when the going market is a 130K base, and you just take it. And we're giving you a role that's in negotiations, yet in this position, you're not even negotiating with me for your worth. You're going to lose. And I'm hoping that what I am telling you, regardless if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or you have a W-2, just know that nothing is handed to you. When you want something, track everything of what you bring to the table, know the market worth, right? And make sure when you speak, it is clear, concise. This is what it is. This is what I want, so on and so forth. And especially these events we go to, I always tell the women, when women come to me and we're chatting, I can't find partnerships. Why is nobody taking me seriously? And I go, do you want the honest answer, or do you want me to sugarcoat it for you? Because I need to know who I'm dealing with. I tend to be a very direct person. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, these women are coming in here with tits and ass out, looking like they're looking for a date. Are you looking for a business partner, or are you looking to get hooked up? Right? So there's little things that women do unintentionally, that is sabotaging us. And we don't even sometimes realize it. And I'm hoping, and I know this is a very long answer, and it's just because I have so many different stories, that I would be able, to share. Anything from being at a dinner and we're discussing promotions. And I was told, would you plan on having any more kids? would a man be asked, do you intend to have any more children?
I
Absolutely
ask that question
not.
sometimes.
What was that? What'd you say?
I ask that question to them sometimes. Do
Just
you
to
have
like
children? Do you
rile them
plan to have
up.
more?
Yeah, you
I
know,
do.
and there's just so many things that women, you know, or the sexualization of women. I remember
do.
going into, and I went home and I told my husband about this. I showed up and I had to do a sales pitch for this very large company. I walk in, it's all men. I stand, and as I'm discussing, okay, this is where the fiber build, I used to be an area manager for fiber. I'm like, this is the build, this is where it's coming. And this guy's giving me elevator eyes, trying to distract me, checking me out. And y'all, you guys see me when I go to the business events. I'm pretty buttoned up. I'm usually jeans, kicks, a blazer, no reason for you to think that you have a chance, right? Usually. And what I said to him was, oh, do you have a question? I'm like, do you have a question? Are you okay? Oh, you looked confused or dubious. And even though he was freaking eyeballing me and like kind of just licking his, just over the top, like grow the F up. And so I was like, oh, you have you're okay? Okay, cool. Well, I'll keep it moving then if you don't have any questions. You look confused. Okay, cool. And you keep it moving. But this is the type of shit women go through. And it's just, it's unfortunate, but we need to learn to ask for what we want, right? And we need to learn to not speak out loud, which I tend to do sometimes when we're in an open conversation. And I hope that was helpful. Don't ever let somebody say, hey, if you're at the, hey, Candace, will you go get our coffee? Are your legs broken? Like all these domesticated roles that are given to women because we're the nurturers. Oh, hey, Brooke, we're having a party. I'm a fucking top salesperson too. You want me to go get the cupcakes? Homie, why don't you go get the cupcakes? Come on, bro.
So you just recently, you know, left your W-2. Are you open to sharing about what your ideas are moving forward? Because I know you are just now stepping into this entrepreneurial role, and I would love to hear what you shared with me if you are comfortable.
I'm pretty
Earlier.
much an open book. Now I'm trying to remember what the hell I shared with you earlier.
Yeah, you were just outlining your business plans and goals and how you're setting up, because you're in the startup, right? You're in the startup phase of your next adventure with your new business and what you've got going. You've got a lot of things going. Obviously, we know you as a capital raiser and someone who obviously raises money and invests in real estate, but you've got other things that you're going to be launching and doing here. So I just thought it'd be a great opportunity for you to share with the community what you've got coming up.
Of course. So in my perspective, I feel like I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and a business owner. And I started my first business about over 2 years ago, 26 months ago. But something that's solely mine, but I started with the team, is multifamily momentum, because I was able, from my mentorships and having Empower Capital, from raising capital, when I had my own team, I was tackling best and finals and I couldn't get past due diligence, right? And so with all the mentorships that I had, I have now been able to start Multifamily Momentum, which is an intimate group. It's less than 25 people, where I'm coaching people on how to acquire apartments and the mental that goes with that, and coaching in the community, etc. However, it is a stressful thing to be a part of, because 2 years ago, I started planning on leaving corporate. How can I leave corporate, right? And that was always my goal from the get-go. So I am all in on myself. I have, 6 months of savings. I'm having to go through the medical stuff with a family of 4. And it's exciting, it's scary, it's liberating. And what created Multifamily Momentum were my peers. I am constantly coaching people for the last 2 years, like, damn, Brooke, how are you able to scale and go so quickly? Passive 676, that's passive, but 481 units is active and is a sponsor in that. And one, that was through mentorships. And 2, I'm talking over 7 to 10 hours a week helping people. And now I decided, okay, well, I'm now going to make this, since I like to help people, I'm now going to coach people on how to do this and make that my passion. But this is scary because you're having to go all in on yourself. And even though people want to pick your brain all the time, and I know I speak with Julie Roy with this a lot about, and other people who are coaches on the call, you're constantly getting your brain picked. And how did you do this? And how did you do that? And you're always giving yourself to other people. But it's like, okay, well now, I mean, I spent almost $130,000 in coaching and masterminds, where mine for 6 months is 6,500, and I am catering everything to these 25 individuals and providing like a goal plan, like very specific. And some people are like, a couple people, well, that's expensive. You bet your ass it's expensive. I spent over 130 grand in mentorships. How do you think I was able to leave after 2 years? But it's scary. It's scary. It's good. You have autonomy. But you have to have a plan A, B, C, and D. Even though my goal is to eventually be where I love where Julie's at. I find Julie to be very inspirational, to have living off $1 million annual passive income. And I told her, because she has a fantastic coaching business too, scaling and accelerating and exiting, because she has that experience. I go, girl, when I hit 250K or 500K, I'm signing up for that. So yeah. You have to game plan though. Like I paid off all of the debt. I got rid of anything that wasn't a necessity, the mortgage and the utilities, right? And then I built 6 months of savings on here. So I do have some passive income coming in. I have a trickle, we'll have the book project stuff coming in, but it's essentially, it's going to be the 6 months of savings and living by a prayer and just going balls to the wall and hustling.
And that's really what I wanted you to share, because I've been full cycle in 3 businesses. My insurance agency is now going to be 25 years old. So
now you need Julie to teach you how to scale and exit, and that's your girl. But this is something else. Y'all don't hire coaches that have not done the work. I am so sorry. I do need to get this ran off really quick. I see so many people coaching that do not have the experience to be coaching in the genre they're coaching in. So if you guys want to find a coach, so whether it's something like myself, or when I had my team, we got accepted to every best and final. I think there was like 13 best and finals. We slayed them. I couldn't get past due diligence, partnered with Massive. Now I'm better. You have somebody like Julie Roy, who had her daycare learning center. She grew them. She started them. She scaled them. She exited for billions or millions. You're going to want her for that. If you have somebody like Candace, hey, I have this business. It's an insurance business, and I'm in this field. Candace has scaled and grown over 25 years for businesses. Hire coaches and mentors that are where you want to be, that have done what you want to do. Stop hiring coaches and mentors just because you like them and you think that they're cool. Because I talk to a lot of people and then they don't want to hire me sometimes because they're like, well, they're just all fluff. She goes, they don't give us executables, or that I found out that they haven't done the experience before. So please, when you look for a coach, do your due diligence and make sure they've done the work of what you're trying to accomplish. So that's it. It's another little thing. Go ahead, Candace. So 25 years insurance. You're going to hire Julie. She's going to scale you and you're going to exit out for millions.
So actually, I already, I'm looking for another business partner, because so being in insurance is like being in the mafia. Once you're in, you never leave. It's residual income, and I can do it in my sleep. There's no new shiny anything. It's like I said, it's very much a commodity. Healthcare is, and once you know all the compliance and the laws and the rules, you work within them, and that's how it works, unfortunately. So I don't have any intentions in selling off my insurance business, but I'm just looking for a younger managing partner, is the best way to put it.
Put recruitment out there. I would love to hear from anybody, if there's anybody else that has a entrepreneur story, or somebody that, as a woman, you came into the space, here's the obstacle I hit, and this is how I overcame it. Is there anybody else that would like to share a story that can inspire other people and make people feel like they're not alone?
I would like to be a business partner from
Ooh, iPhone Roxanne, she wants to be a business partner. And Barb Christie, thank you. She goes, I worked for Merrill Lynch and UBS. Everything she says is true. And these are the things that people don't talk about that women do, why we don't get acknowledged or why we're not getting business partners. Like Brooke, she's a distraction, or Brooke, she's twirling her hair, or she talks like a valley girl, you know, or she's just too quiet, or she's not the face of the company, but we'll put her in an admin role. So ladies, I don't want you to change who you are as a person, but unfortunately we are in a male dominant field. And I think we should be aware of how we carry ourselves if we're really looking for a business partner, right? And I don't know, I battle with that because I think we should just be ourselves and be authentic. But sometimes we're doing things that are hurting us and nobody's going to tell you, whether it's the high pitched voices or dressing too clad or too much makeup. Julie, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah. So like, I agree and disagree on some of that. One, just in terms of the points that you brought up, I agree with the W-2 portion. I thought we should talk a little bit about, for folks on here that are in a W-2 role, I feel like it's really important to address the bridge between W-2 and entrepreneurship. So I think a lot of people have a skewed reality of what that needs to look like. You know, a lot of folks come to me and they're like, well, you know, I'm leaving my W-2, but they don't have the processes, the people, the systems, or the ideas to make that leap, like the appropriate leap from a W-2 to an entrepreneurship. I also think it's more of an amalgamation from the bridge rather than just going off the deep end. Sometimes like leaving the W-2 without starting anything or having some entrepreneurial background or some support, whether that's familial, like if you have a partner who can support the journey with you or for you, you know, that's awesome. But for some folks, leaving a W-2 and going to entrepreneurship, you know, is very scary, but it also is sometimes not feasible. Like you do need to live off of an income. And so as much as we talk about multifamily and, you know, entrepreneurship and jumping into sole proprietorships or entrepreneurial journeys, it's awesome and it's super hard. And some days suck huge and some days are absolutely incredible. And you have that roller coaster 24/7 in entrepreneurship. And the biggest thing is to set yourself up at the beginning where you have some security, whether it's 6 months of savings in your account, whatever you need to make that journey feasible for you and your family. I see a lot of people jump from the W-2 to entrepreneurship without a trampoline or a safety net or something under you. And that is probably a huge mistake if you are like, especially depending on your age. Obviously, I went into entrepreneurship from a W-2 with a $25,000 loan from a guy named Malcolm Banks, who I paid 19%. I wrote a book about how that's probably not the best idea. However, you can start businesses without resources, but I didn't have a family. Right. I had my mom as a safety net. I could go home if I needed to. Right. Like I can't just leave my family, my kids, my house and be like, hey, now guys, we're going to live in a car. Like, you know, there's some things that are just not feasible. And maybe it is for some people. It just wasn't for us, you know?
Well, and
So.
I would second everything that you said, but I would also add, because how I started my business was with a partnership. This is my third partner, guys, that I'm sharing this information with you about. And a good stint of my insurance business over that 25 years is I was on my own without a partner for almost 10 years. So I've had partners and not had partners. The benefit of a partner is you can have a financial partner where you're 50-50 in a business. You're the sweat equity partner, the one that does all of the heavy lifting and the hard work, but still have ownership, you know, in your own business. If you don't have, and I would say 12 months of savings is probably a better goal than 6 months. That's just me, because like I said, most businesses, you don't make money for the first 12 months. Especially
At least 6 months.
Yeah.
Like at least,
Yeah.
that was what I was saying. Like you can't leave without at least 6 months.
Yeah. Because the sales
And
cycle is different in every single business. And if it's real estate, you're looking at least a 12 to 24 month sales cycle, like in the insurance business. You don't just get a whole bunch of investors all of a sudden and find a deal and get it to work and whatever.
yeah, I mean, it takes 3 to 5 years to stabilize a business. I mean, that's the true facts from day one. So depending on what you're getting into, obviously coaching businesses are different. You don't have overhead, you don't have space, you don't have leases. All of these things are to be considered when starting a business. So it's hard to just put it all under one canopy. I was just citing examples of obviously not leaving your W-2 without some form of plan or working with the end in mind to where you need to get to, and not just walking away from your W-2, especially not today, because although unemployment is super low, there is a real challenge in getting higher level, really high paying positions. So if you're in one of those, it is a challenge to replace that now today. You know, it's not like it was even 3 years ago, right? During COVID, things were very different. After COVID, business in general has changed. The landscape has changed. Yeah, and I just wanted to make sure that people didn't think that, you know, they could just leave a W-2 without a bridge. And the second thing, like you said about partnerships, I've never had a partnership. That's just my choice. So very different, you know, backgrounds for that. My dad actually had a partnership when we were young and lost all of his businesses. And so for me, it's an adverse reaction. Partnership is super like, you know, just brings money trauma to me. So I don't get involved usually with partnerships. I have partnerships with GP rules, but not in business. I think it's different, but also the amount of trust that you need to have with somebody in a partnership, 85% of partnerships fail. So as much as people want to tell you to get into a partnership, 85% of partnerships fail, mostly over money. So financially, you know, the trust factor, feeding two families in times where it's challenging. A sweat equity is great if you want to get into something that you're new to. There's less risk. Obviously, all those things. I agree with you, Candace. It's like for sure a way for folks to get in. And I also like Grant Cardone is my personal coach. I've told you all that before. And he says, I'd rather own 5% of 100 businesses than 100% of one. That's awesome. But he's a billionaire. He doesn't have to worry about your business going bankrupt. So I love this conversation. And I maybe am in a similar position. If I put some money in to a partnership and it fails, I have other things going on, but most people don't have that option. And so I think we have to be real and realistic about what that looks like for the regular human, you know, the regular person, right? But so
I just mentioned the partnership because that's how I got my first business. Through a partnership. And it was through sweat equity, and it was Candace and her car, and that's all she had for collateral.
And those businesses, if you can find like someone great to work with that will mentor you, bring you in, create that, you know, you create the sweat equity, they give you some compensation for that sweat equity, you're building your net worth, you're building your experience. Those are the best options if you can find the right fit, right? Because then you're not also risking a huge amount of your own personal money to get in the business, which like some folks just do not have the ability to do that, right? Especially if you're a single mom with kids. I know so many, you know, friends that they couldn't afford to lose a good part of their savings if something happened, right? So I mean, there's both sides to it for sure. But I do feel like opportunities in business are so different based on the industry as well.
Right. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And that first partner I had for, let's see, 1999 to 2004. So it was a good run. It's a good run.
That's great.
So.
And I only caught the first half when you were talking about partnerships. Are you not in one now, Ben? I heard you talking about leaving or something. So that's what I thought.
My most recent partner in the insurance business fired my right-hand girl while I was in Texas with my massive capital people. And so that didn't work out so great.
That's hard.
So
Especially if you rely on them, you know?
that was a red line for me. And so he poked the bear. He's kind of got a passive aggressive personality, obviously. And so I was trying to make it work. It's like those times where you're in a relationship and the person's toxic and you're like, how can I just, try to manage this the best I can?
You only stick in a toxic relationship that's super shitty if the sex is good. Sorry. That's the only reason why you're still sticking into it. Okay. So don't lie. I've talked to all of my
Right.
girlfriends. I'm like, why are you in this relationship? This guy is an a-hole. Well, don't play me. And it's always because of the sex. So y'all keep him as a friends with benefits, not a partner.
That's so correct.
But anyways, Candace, because we have a couple more minutes in regards to your situation, can't you, because now you're going through a rebranding type of deal and now you're going to open up your own type of business. Can you go back to the young girl that you liked so much and say, hey, I'm sorry this happened. Take her out to dinner. I would love to still have you on my team.
So she called me when she was let go. And I said, you're not let go, and get on the phone and here's all the clients, and call them all and tell them what happened. Tell them I'm in Texas and set up appointments for me to come out and see them. So
yeah, don't let
that was
men
that.
think that.
So, that was
use
that.
your
That was
voice
that.
and take action.
That was
Don't
that.
ever, because unfortunately, women, even though we're told, to be seen and not heard, and we're made of sugar and spice and everything nice. Nah, not when it comes to your goals, not when it comes to your money, not when it comes to you providing for your family.
Yeah,
right?
I was full on
Open your
Grant
mouth.
Cardone. I was full on Grant Cardone that day.
Right, but
I love it.
yeah, they say like become obsessed with your success. It's not a joke. When you're an entrepreneur, that is your tagline. Like become obsessed with your success. If you're not obsessed with your success, you're not going to grow, right? You're not going to do all the things it takes to be an entrepreneur. There are really crappy days. Like, everyone sees all the great stuff, but there's days that aren't great. And so you have to believe in yourself first and foremost. If you don't believe in you, your team isn't going to believe in you, your clients, everyone else, right? So you have to have a lot of strength and courage in your own personality to carry all of that burden yourself and still believe that you can do this, right? I think mindset is 90% of an entrepreneurial journey. I've been an entrepreneur now for 30 plus years. I'll be 50 in December. So I started, early 20s. So it's just, it's amazing and incredible. And I would never do anything else, but there are hard times. And if you don't have the right mindset and the strength and the courage and the tools and the toolbox to do what you need to do when you need to do it, you're not going to be able to be successful. And I don't care if you're a woman or a man or whatever. I just wrote a book. A huge chapter is about money trauma that we come from and how to overcome that, because a lot of what we are and who we are in terms of even in our investor rules, we come with a bunch of trauma that we were brought up with, whether it's money trauma that, our parents were super savers. And so we have to always save for a rainy day because they went through the Depression and they went through wars. And you bring, no matter what, this genetic component of who we are doesn't get erased by nature, nurture, all the things, right? You come with a preset core value that you have to get over. You have to walk through the door of fear to courage in order to bring yourself to that next level. And it's not easy. And people that tell you that entrepreneurship is easy are lying or failing.
Yeah, that's a great way to end, I think.
It's not for the faint of heart. So when things get hard, think of why you're doing it, because it can't just be about the money. And I'm so glad Julie said that, because it is hard and it does get lonely and sometimes you don't feel understood. And that's why you have to have a bigger power or a bigger reason of why you're doing it.
And
right?
what a segue to say, if you know anybody who could benefit from this community, tell them to join.
Yes. I don't have the link here in front of me, but it's like massive capital /she or something in case. Or just follow us.
I'm sure Jasmine will post it with this recording. So
Jasmine's on vacation. Oh yeah.
Okay, I think I saw Maria on here. Maria, where are you? I saw Maria pipe up. It said Maria's iPhone. So she must either could be on here or listening. So Maria, put this link in the chat. But anyways, yeah, it was great. Thanks for going through the entrepreneurial journey with us.
We appreciate you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
It's 5 o'clock, y'all. That's time.
Yeah, it's
Hasta
well,
luego.
it's 8 o'clock Eastern Standard
5
Time
o'clock Pacific.
for you.
It's
for
the
you
other Maria.
East Coast,
She said,
West
sorry.
Coasters. So
West
cover-
Coast, West Coast.
I know we cover all the coasts. We were talking about that yesterday too.
Coast to coast, y'all. Have a
I'm with
fabulous
you, Candace.
day,
It's
ladies.
8 here.
I appreciate you. Mwah. Thank you, Julie, for all of the fabulous nuggets you always drop. So much love to you.
Thank
Love
you,
Candace.
ladies.
Bye, Ellen. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We did the mash. Remember, we don't have the music.
Oh,
We
yeah.
did the monster mash. The monster mash. It was the graveyard smash. We did the mash. It took off in a flash. We did the mash. We did the monster mash.
Don't have us ever sing it ever again. They better fix this and tell us how to use the music.
It's karaoke day, y'all. Oh God. Well, now I gotta go drop off my daughter because she has she's trying to hit 250 hours of community hours to get this special thing for graduation. So she has to be at this little junior high fall festival thing in 15 minutes.